Welcome to Drinks Coach. Yes, it's me, Joe Wadsack again. Call me Wadders. Lowercase, Drinks Coach UK. Ask me any questions you like. In fact, some of you already have, and that's lovely that I'm starting to connect with my audience a bit. Ask me any questions you like about food, drink, you want to shoot the breeze. If it's something a bit more personal, Vine Sack, that's my personal line. Okay, so what are we talking about today? Well, we're talking about gin, but there are so many. The reason why I haven't done a gin show yet is because there's so many things we can talk about with gin, and it's such a massive and explosive and sometimes divisive topic that I thought we'd just concentrate on specific questions. And in this case, and I think in a not too distant future, I will do just a few gins which I think are so good you wouldn't want to put anything in them. The best crafted gins. But today I'm concentrating on one thing, and that is what makes a bloody good gin and tonic. So I've just picked 4 which I think excel at the prospect of gin and tonic, and to talk a little bit about what you need to consider when making them. Okay, now if you didn't see the no and low alcohol show at the beginning of the week, I did talk about how to make a proper gin and tonic, and I went into some detail about it, but I'll try and do it a bit quickly this time. Right, the rules are nice thin glass. It can be a chalice, it can be a Collins, but crystal helps, because the thinner the glass, I think the more attractive the drink appears to taste. Right, it needs to be full of ice. Full of ice. Oh, won't that dilute the drink? No, it won't dilute the bloody drink. If you put 2 cubes of ice in, you will dilute the drink and it won't be cold enough. If you fill it full of ice, you can drink your gin and tonic. The ice is still there because it hasn't reached melting point yet. So that's the way to do it, okay? Then you slice a lemon. Oh, dropped the knife. You slice a lemon like that on a wedge, right? On a wedge. And I'll explain why in moments. Okay, first drink. The rather fantastic Berry Brothers No. 3, which I believe has been voted 4 times world's best gin, and in the International Spirits Awards it's the only gin ever to have won supreme drink. So it'd be all the cognacs, the tequilas, the whiskies. I mean, that would be pretty serious. And this is the new dressing, this is the new packaging for said drink, which changed in September. A friend of mine, Victoria Moore, who writes for the Daily Telegraph, I think still probably agrees with me that this makes the best gin and tonic out there. Classic gin and tonic, that is. Okay, so we put some gin in the drink, lots of fresh ice. We've got a nice wedge of lemon. What do we need now? Well, we need a can or a bottle of tonic. Not the big things, because I think carbonation is as important as flavour when it comes to tonic. And look, you will notice this is Schweppes. I still use Schweppes regularly at home all the time. It has a little bit of artificial sweetener in it, which is one of the reasons why I think brands like Fever Tree really kind of exploded the market, because they're an all-natural product. But I like the dryness of that. Sometimes this is just a little bit sweet for purpose for me. In this particular case, hell, we're going to use the Fever Tree, I think. It's a nation's favourite these days. Okay, so I'm just going to use my bar blade. There we go. And you don't need to use the whole thing. I mean, I think 2 to 1, 3 to 1, something like that. Nothing pisses me off more than when you go into a bar and you say, can I have a gin and tonic? And they come to the table, they put it down, and they've just poured all of the tonic into your drink and left an empty bottle next to it. Why do they even bring the bottle back to you? Okay, so then the next thing you do is you take this oil side or skin side down. So when you squeeze it, it squirts all the lemon oils over the surface of the drink. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a perfect gin and tonic. Right, cut. No, I have to carry on. Whoa, that's staying over there for later. Old school, you can't beat it. Remember, it was always Gordon and Schweppes, or Beefeater and Schweppes, or Tanker and Schweppes. But they've produced this fabulous blend. I was just trying to look at the different botanicals that are in there. There's a lot of coriander seed. The one thing I did notice, there's a lot of green cardamom in it, which I really like in some gins. Some people don't like it, but cardamom isn't in all gins. But it works very well in a gin and tonic. And you can buy cardamom tonic too. There's also a lovely sweet orange rind characteristic to it. But I think this is an absolutely top-notch gin. Just to make some space, I'm going to put that down there. Right, next one up. Next glass full of ice. This is made by my friend Dave McWilliam. David McWilliam went to Winchester College with me. Same year, etc., etc. We both left in 1988. He was a very clever chap. He started off in a house called Trance, ended up as a scholar. So, Padstow Gin. Just looking at the different botanicals. Oh yes, so first of all, it's made in Padstow, in a still which they own. There's Rob and Paula who are in business with him as well. So it's nice to have made notes for a change. And David is a fantastically good wine merchant, and he's had wine merchants and wine shops down in Padstow for many years. He's also a weapons grade DJ, not in the Simon Bates way, but in the kind of more DJ Zinc sort of way. But it's very, very nice to reconnect with David, specifically through this fabulous product. It's not cheap. It's 40 quid. From the Berry Brothers and Rudd. I think the Berry Brothers number 3 is £36 in Waitrose. If you buy it from Amazon, I've just noticed it's on offer at £26. Which means if you're buying it at full price, if you buy 3 off Amazon, you get a bottle free, effectively. So, anyway, Padstow Gin. It's made using local barley from the area. It's made in a pot still. It's handmade. Very, very high spec. And also they're using local botanicals. I imagine there's things like gorse and sea buckthorn and things like that in there. I know there's lovage in it. I know they use bay leaf and some lovely orange flavour as well. It's not too crazy citrus, which I quite like about this. Oh look, nearly finished. Oh, I'll have to get some more. What's rather lovely about this? There you go. What is it? Batch number 001. So I might just have to keep that bottle for posterity, I think. There we go. Now, because of the herbiness in the drink and the gorse and the bay and things, I've chosen to use a herb garnish. Garnish is really important with gin and tonics. So what I'm doing here is I'm getting some lemon thyme. Smack it on the table a few times. Right in there. There we go. Lemon thyme's fantastic, or rosemary. Well, rosemary I think would work very well in here as well. Now, just to allow that stuff to sing, I'm going to use the Schweppes Light Tonic, which is far less sweet. It's kind of almost like a cross between club soda and tonic. There we go. That's drink 2. How are we doing for time? Oh, I think we're just about getting there. Damn good gin, David. Really, really, really good. There are some wonderful gins which aren't made in London. I mean, obviously, Berry Brothers is a London dry gin. It's actually made in Holland. But there are some beautiful gins down there. Shout out to the exquisite gins of Salcombe and Devon as well. And there are other distillers in Cornwall as well, not just the Padstow Distilling Company. I'm afraid I don't know what your products are like, so I haven't been able to compare them yet. But David, Rob and Paula, you're doing an absolute monster job with that. Please continue. And I can't wait to come down to the West Country and drink with you guys at some point. Okay, so that's number 2. Now, number 3. I'm not one for flavoured anythings, really, because the flavourings are usually shit. Okay, so what I've got here is a gin. They sent me the gin and the vodka to try, and it's a company called Slow Motion, SLOE, like the fruit. And they make this wonderful stuff, Hedgerow Gin. And when I say hedgerow, it's got rose hips in it, it's got crab apples in it, it's got sloe stones, nettles. It has literally been, all the botanicals have been taken out of an English country hedgerow, and their gin and their vodkas are very, very good. And they've also got a range, by the way, so I think they deserve a real big up, because I would never normally drink this stuff. They're called the Finder's Range. This one's from Fruits of the Forest. This is mulberry and raspberry and things. This one was lemon and lime. I would be running out of a building naked away from things like this normally. But I've got to tell you, they use fresh ingredients. They're exquisitely appointed. They're not overdone. There's no sweetening in that sense. They're not horribly sickly sweet. This one, very special, is the Hedgerow Gin, but it's had forced Yorkshire rhubarb and raspberries put in it. Don't know what I'm going to do for this. I'm going to use a proper chalice. Let's go hard, okay? So we're going to squeeze a couple of raspberries in the bottom as a garnish. So actually add some flavour, maybe a couple of blueberries as well. There we go. Then we're going to put some ice. Oh, there we go. Then we're going to put in some gin. So well done, guys. You were very, very generous and sent me a whole load of different stuff. I'm sorry if I haven't been in contact with you, but I like everything we're doing. They're based up in Yorkshire, everyone. And this is gin, which is about the same sort of money. Yep, £37 on Master of Malt. Now, what am I doing with this? I've been experimenting with your gin, and it makes a brilliant gin and tonic. And I think I've improved on things. Now, you can buy, if you're, I think it was in South Africa I was drinking a lot of it. There is a brand that makes a rose tonic. Now, I couldn't find it anywhere, so I popped down to my local Waitrose, down the road. And what I'm doing is I'm using Fentimann's Rose Lemonade, which isn't too sweet, but it is actually properly brewed naturally with natural rose petals. So I'm going to put half of that in there. And then I'm going to use half light Schweppes tonic, which is a bit soda watery. So we've kind of counteracted the sweetness of the lemonade, so it's not too sweet. Then we shall fill it up with more ice. There we go. Look at that. Isn't that a beautiful looking thing? There we go. A few more of those. And I'd feel quite at home in Saint-Tropez or in Old Compton Street. There we go. Isn't that beautiful? Chin chin. Oh. The rose and the raspberry is such a beautiful match. Flipping lovely. Feckin' delicious. Okay, right. One more to go. No more ice there, so I'm glad I put some in the glass. Okay, so this is, I think when you saw the vodka show, which I was quite passionate about, we tasted James Chase's potato vodka, where we discovered it takes 250 spuds to make one bottle of vodka. And it's very, very fine vodka too. Well, this is something that I don't think has been in the range for particularly a long time. I think it's more one of the more recent long stayers in the lineup. And it's called Williams Elegant 48. What's different about it? Well, I'm a sucker for apple distillates. That is cider that's been distilled. In France they call it Calvados if it comes from the region of Normandy. In England we call it cider brandy. This is a gin made with apples. In fact, it's called Elegant 48 from 48 different species of organic farm apple, which have been distilled to make a new make Calvados or cider brandy effectively. Then they use 48 botanicals in the drink. Then, ironically, I've been told that the column even has 48 baffles in the column still, and it's also released at 48% alcohol, which is all quite fun. It's not, I suppose, it's a bit gimmicky, but the fact is the products are wonderful. They don't filter any heavily either, so you get some of the texture and feel of apple in the mouth. You get the tannins of the apple. So what we're going to use for a garnish? Well, I've decided to use two different types of apple. Let's cut it this way. I think it's prettier. There we go. There we go. Put that in the drink. There we go. Maybe one more slice of that as well. Don't think I've got space for this, but there we go. Again, I'm going to go with the naturally light tonic. There is a tonic in the Fever Tree range, which I use most, which is called the Mediterranean tonic, which is in a blue can as well. There you go. James Chase's Williams 48 apple gin. This is a really remarkable drink. I did this with Holly Willoughby and Philip Schofield one day before they moved studios when they were still on Canary Wharf. And just before the ad break, just before I was about to do it, a gust of wind blew everything off the table, and we had 90 seconds to go before the ads came off, and they came back on. I go, right, we're back. Let's talk about gin. We were running out late. It was just hilarious. Anyway, chin chin. Thank you, James. Well done too. Berry Brothers and Rudd. Probably the best gin and tonic gin on earth. Best I've tasted so far. Then we've got lovely David McWilliams gin. We have Hedgerow Gin from Yorkshire, and then the Williams. Now, there are so many beautiful gins out there. There's Kino B from Japan, Cotswold Gin, Dovey Valley Gin from Wales. It's just truly magnificent. I've got a couple of bottles up there. We're going to do a show on that too, and Salcombe. So shout out to all the great gin producers in this country. But it's gin and tonics today. I've got 4 drinks to finish. Piss off.